embossing paste. Ooh. Okay, so I played with embossing paste to, obviously to put this together. And here is my observation. I think, and I don't know how close I am chemically to it, but it really does kind of feel the normal white. Okay, we get 3 colors. We get embossing paste, which is just a white. We get a shimmery white, and right now we have a silver. And first off, the instructions. If you need instructions, obviously you can go online. You can go to my website, all of that. But behind the label, you peel that back, like a lot of products are doing now, the peel back label, and that's also where your instructions are. So you just peel up the little corner there, and that's also a place you can find instructions. I don't know, again, where this stands chemically. My father would probably know if he were still alive because he was a chemical engineer. But it really is a lot like drywall spackle. Case in point, let's open it up. So when I open mine, all 3 of mine, it comes with a foil cover to keep it moist. You want to keep it moist. That is the whole point. I only peel back a little bit of the foil, and obviously I'm keeping the lid screwed on when I'm not using it. Oh, the other supplies that you will need, or you can use something of your own, are palette knives. We do sell a 3-pack of palette knives, 3 different kinds, a big blade, little pointy guy, and then this one, which is kind of like a knife. That's even when I was in art class, that was a kind of my go-to one. Everybody has a different comfort level, which is why they have the different 3. And of course, then we have masks. I have a full list of supplies, which I will be posting. But there is the white embossing paste, the silver embossing paste, the shimmery white, the palette knives, the pattern masks. You will need, I highly recommend, a silicone craft sheet. Those are handy for so many things, including hot glue gun. A heat tool is optional. You can heat set the stuff to make it go quicker. And if you want ink refills, which are optional, and I'll be showing those, and other supplies that you should have at home, is a wet rag nearby, or baby wipes, or wet paper towels or something. I don't like the paper towels just because they can fuzz on your mask. I recommend a rag or baby wipes or something that's not going to leave a lot of lint behind. Anyhow, that's my recommendation. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you scoop it. It looks and feels like sheetrock spackle. I cannot describe it anywhere else. It's kind of like another way to describe it. I wrote it down here. It has a texture like air whipped frosting. It does not have a smooth texture because, again, it is a paste. So, and it comes, so this is the white, the standard one. And again, you want to keep a wet rag handy. It is washable. It is water soluble. So you can wash up with mild soap and water, warm water I recommend. Here is the silver embossing paste. This stuff is so pretty. It is so pretty. This stuff's a little bit runnier because, of course, when you add in the sparkle, it looks like our dazzling diamonds are in there. It does break it down a little bit, but it still works the same. So there's our shimmer white. And these are all dyeable. That's what the reinkers are for, or the ink refills. So clean my knife off, close it up, and move on to the, we have the silver embossing paste. And they all come in a container that is 4 fluid ounces, so half a cup. Just to let you know. Wow. I don't know why that... I must have left goo on the... Yep. So the silver is a little more runny. Just to let you know, it works the same. but it is a little more runny. It isn't as whipped of a texture. Clean that up. And close it up because I'm not going to use it. And clean up my knife. In between. And again, this is the knife that I prefer. There are other knives. You can certainly use your own, but this is the one that I've always had the most comfort in handling. Again, there are other styles in the 3-pack. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what the embossing paste and the tools you might need. The recommended tools anyway. And again, I have a poop sheet all ready to go. I just need to zip it up to my website with some supplies and all this. Okay, so here are the masks too. This is the brick mask. And if you're just joining me, I am showing embossing paste from Stampin' Up and all the tools you need and how to play with it and what we have 3 different embossing pastes. I'm now showing the masks. We have a cloud mask, or maybe it's a cupcake topper. We have the brick. We have a broke shield, mandola. No, oh, terminology, just woo. Anyway, looks like kind of like a doily. We'll go with that. And then these little diamondy ones. Those are the 3 masks we have right now. And obviously you don't have to use a mask. You can just apply it to your project for a rough texture. Make like a spackled wall, like a decorative, what do they call that? Fresco wall that they used to do. You know, there's other ways to play with it, but I'm going to stick with the tools today to show you. So I'm going to use the brick mask in a minute. So I just want to show you also. So here is the white embossing paste, and this is what it looks like on the mask. That's the messy coverage. I didn't make sure. I would just kind of just plop some on the mask. Here's it with the full coverage. So that's the doily, whatever it's called, mask. Here's the brick with the white paste. Full coverage. You can see those bricks are pretty solid looking, and then here's kind of a messy look. Here's again the white paste with the diamonds mask. Here's a full coverage, and here's kind of a messy coverage. Want to make sure you see all of them. And here's the clouds or the cupcake frosting. Looks kind of like frosting. And full coverage, and then the very, very messy coverage because Sandy had a little trouble with that one. And then here we have the shimmer white, and then the silver embossing paste. So those are all what the embossing pastes and the masks look like. So you get an idea of that. Anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to use my silicone mat, and I'm going to put a piece of paper down. I'm using crumb cake just because I wanted something neutral. I didn't want anything too light or too dark, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take and open up my paste. And I'll load up a little bit on my knife. You really only will end up using let's say per card front, we'll go with that as a measure, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, I kind of estimated. Somewhere in there. It depends on the thickness of the coverage. But so what you do, actually let me correct that. I found it was easier with this knife anyway to scoop it on the back. That way you get that smooth, the back of the knife to just go like this. And that's all you do. And you keep spreading it. Doesn't have to go on there very thick. If you put it on super thick, it's going to take longer to dry. Normally it dries in about 10 to 15 minutes. But you keep going. You want to make sure you scrape off all that on the mask, and you want to wipe your mask off right away. So that's how you apply it, or that's how I apply it. Lift off your mask, wipe it off. And if you're going to do a lot of these projects, I recommend keeping a bucket of warm sudsy water nearby to kind of soak your stuff in right away and then wipe them off to dry. Your paste will dry in about 10 to 15 minutes. Dry in about 10 to 15 minutes. You can use our heat tool to heat set it, or you can use a blow dryer if you don't have a heat tool nearby. But why wouldn't you have a heat tool if you do heat embossing? I will clean that up better later because I can feel it's already sticky. So that's what it looks, that's how you apply that. Pretty simple, eh? It's pretty simple. Again, if you're just joining me, I am showing the lovely embossing paste from Stampin' Up. So there we have that. Wipe off my silicone pad. See how easy stuff just wipes right off. Easy peasy. So next, I'm going to show you how to, we'll dye a little paste. Should we dye the regular or shimmer? Let's do the regular. So you want to scoop a little bit, and there are many ways to do this. I found that I like dealing with the silicone pad just because you can scrape it all off. Something else, it may be harder to, because then you're wasting. So you want to take a little bit of silicone pad, and you really don't need, this is when you want the ink refills. Not only do you want them to make sure your ink pads stay nice and fresh, but you also want them for other techniques. Dyeing embossing paste is one. I'm going to use rich raspberry. You know why rich raspberry? Because it goes with the Love What You Do promotional pre-order suite that's available this month. So I barely put a drop in there, and look at it's already spreading. And you just take and mix it around, kind of like if you're a cake decorator. This is how you add in your colors to your frostings. So you just want to keep mucking around. And if you want to do a whole bunch, put as much as paste you think you need on here. Add 1, 2, 3 maybe drops of re-inker, and then you can store it in an airtight container. It will stay. So you can make up a whole batch and store it. Just make sure you label it so you know what color you're dealing with. Because honestly, I would probably guess that's rich raspberry, but I may not know, or if I pull it out a month later, I might have forgotten. So make sure you label your container. So now I'm going to I magically have another silicone mat nearby. Ooh, I got goop on that. Let's get a fresh piece of paper. So I'm going to take and I'm going to lay my mask. I'm just going to use the same mask for this because it's easier. And also, you can lay your mask crooked or whatever you want. With the bricks, I think it's best because it is a nice straight line. Line it up with your paper. I mean, you certainly can do some fun stuff and lay it at an angle. And you want to, again, just squish it in there. Keep going back and forth. Back and forth.
Hey, Dad.
So, let's grab a little bit more paste. Fill it in. Again, I like the messy brick. It looks cool if you do the whole, if you do whatever size paper you have, if you do the whole thing. But I kind of like that partial look, like an old vintage brick wall that's fallen down and has been well loved. But I'm doing the most of my paper to just kind of show you. I do kind of like this rich raspberry paste. I just wanted a color that would show up well on camera and that it goes with the suite, but that's actually quite pretty. So let me pull off my mask. That's really pretty. Okay, that was just a weird coincidence because, again, I just got it because it matches the Share What You Love suite that I'm so hooked on. Oh my goodness, is that pretty, everybody? Give me a like, give me a yay if you think that is really pretty. I am gonna have fun coming up with a project to use that one on. So here's our dyed paste. And again, Here is the white paste, and you see just the partial brick wall, and I did a full brick wall. Obviously, if I'd used something like Cajun Craze or Cherry Cobbler or something like that, it would have had more of a traditional brick look. Even soft suede. Oh goodness, even like Peekaboo Peach, which is retiring, might look like some of kind of those light orangey bricks. Anyway, I'll set them aside to dry. They don't take long. Set this all aside. I will clean up later. I promise. Wow, I really did goop. Whoopsie. So let me show you some projects that I did already ahead of time. And again, this is using the Share What You Love suite that I love so much. And again, if you're just joining me now, I have shown, you can go back and watch from the beginning, how to use the Stampin' Up! Embossing Paste, which I think is like sheetrock spackle. That's the texture and dry time and all of that it seems to have. And it, again, if anyone knows how close it is chemically, let me know. Give me a shout out. That'd be kind of cool to know. So this is using the diamond mask and the shimmer white paste. I don't want to set it on my drawing project. I tried this fun thing. I stamped my paper first and then I put the embossing paste over it. Isn't that a cool effect? That's just the white embossing paste and the brick mask. But it just adds another layer of texture that I just thought was so cool. So I kept the card to black and white so you really can see the effect of that. So that's another thing you can do. Here's the silver. Silver, I'm going to say you need a longer dry time with the silver. Again, it's more runny. It's not as air whipped. It works the same. I would either recommend heat setting this or letting it dry overnight if you have the time. Otherwise, heat set this stuff, especially this one. So again, this is the new Grapefruit Grove color, black and white, and the Love What You Do stamp set. Here I dyed using Crumb Cake, the white paste. Check out the shimmer in that paper. Sorry. Isn't that cool? And yes, I did fussy cut. Sandy did fussy cut. Sandy hates fussy cutting, but she did a little fussy cutting. And then I kept this card as plain as possible. I did dye the shimmer white with Crumb Cake. Isn't that just stunning how that looks? Very texture, very tonal, tone on tone look. Isn't that just stunning? Sorry, the camera shook. My cat jumped on the table. But so again, that's from that same set, I think. I believe it is. And that's using the brick and the shimmer white dyed with Crumb Cake. And I only put in one drop, barely a drop. And that's just, I just love that card. After I made it, I kept looking at it and looking at it. Anyway, such a geeky thing. So let me just review real quick. Let me show you. So these are some things. These are I didn't use the clouds, but I used 3 of the 4 masks on these projects. I showed you the plain paste. I showed you the dyeing, the shimmer, the dyed shimmer, the silver. I didn't try dyeing the silver, but I bet you can. That'd be something fun to do. If someone has, give me a shout and let me know. I showed you live rich raspberry on Crumb Cake. Rich raspberry mixed with the embossing paste. You get those great raspberry bricks. It's just gorgeous. And then just the normal white paste on the Crumb Cake. Well, excuse me a minute. I hope this has inspired you to try some of our embossing pastes as a fun way